Am I the asshole for calling my aunt a creep and outing her as a homewrecker? To preface, I 27, f. have an aunt that is 55, f. Let's call her Susie. I've never been very close to her as she constantly bullies me, picks on my looks, and when I was 20 she bullied me into an eating disorder. Despite all these things I stayed cordial to keep the peace in my family. However, last week was my breaking point. For backstory, Susie has 2 daughters, 18 and 14. Who are still teenagers, and it's known amongst the whole family that since Susie's divorce in 2016 she neglects them badly. She doesn't cook, doesn't keep groceries in the home for them, and my cousins have even confided to me that she refuses to buy them new clothing. Despite my differences with Susie, I drop off home-cooked meals to her daughters, will give them hand-me-down clothes, and offer to help them out with schoolwork. Most of the times during my drop-offs Susie would be on her way out but would always remember to make a jab at me. Whether it be what I was wearing or even how my makeup was done. I usually brushed it off as aggravating as she is. One day in particular her eldest daughter confided in me that she wanted to move out because she couldn't deal with Susie anymore. She would yell constantly, and make her daughters clean all day and scream if it weren't up to her standards. In addition, Susie was going on multiple dates a week, with different men, one of which was married with a 1-year-old baby and was 15 years younger than her. Now I'm not one to gossip, but I told my cousin that if she needed anything that I would be there for her and went back home. The following week was my brother's 18th birthday. I'm newly engaged and my fiancé and I made our way to my mother's home where a small get-together was held. In total there was around 25 people, including Susie and her daughters. Cue my breaking point. Susie was ogling at my fiancé the entire time, 27m. He mentioned that it was creeping him out a bit and we decided to make our way to the opposite side of the family room. Susie didn't like that and decided to raise her voice and proclaim to my fiancé in front of the entire family that it must be tiring to be with me and that when he finally got sick of me he could get with her because she was a cougar. I was livid. Without hesitation I told her, "You can whore around in your free time and break up marriages all day but you will not disrespect my fiancé and I, you absolute creep and sorry excuse of a mother." The entire room went quiet and she got up right then and there and took off with her daughters. My family actually supported my reaction and told me that they've been wishing someone would finally tell her off. I do feel bad because I did cause a scene at my brother's party and told everyone what my cousin told me in confidence. Am I the asshole? Edit. To those concerned about CPS. I contacted Susie's ex-husband. He's actually a good man and now his daughters are staying with him and are in safe hands and quite happy. Susie had a meltdown following what happened and without hesitation let her ex-husband take her daughters and all their belongings. Not the asshole. She had it coming. Years of abuse and torment will bring anyone to breaking point. And if she doesn't like the truth, maybe she needs to question her actions instead of going after everyone else. What she said was incredibly tacky and she was expecting you to brush it off like normal, instead you bit back. The fact that your family are agreeing with you says it all too. Don't feel bad. You finally had enough and I doubt she will try much again. Not the asshole. That was probably your brother's favorite present. Susie didn't like that and decided to raise her voice and proclaim to my fiancé in front of the entire family that it must be tiring to be with me and that when he finally got sick of me he could get with her because she was a cougar. Like, you could literally pretty much respond any kind of way and I would still say not the asshole. If your aunt doesn't like being called a creep and a homewrecker, maybe she should stop being a creep and a homewrecker. You're fucking awesome, especially if other family members approved your action of telling her off. Ask your brother how he feels about the situation. He might fine with it. Not the asshole. 1. She was creeping on guy half her age, who is also already engaged. Obviously, that wouldn't stop her but that's not the point. 2. What you said may have been harsh, but it was also 100% true. That's why it stung so bad. On top of all that, that your family supported how you handled it. Unless your brother tells you that causing a scene like you did was a problem to him, you should be fine. Not the asshole, but I hope you take your cousin in when her mother puts her out, she leaves. If you're able, of course. Info. What is your family going to do for your cousins besides gossip about their mother? You're not the asshole. She had it coming. But what's getting to me is why has no one called protective services for those kids since that bullshit started in 2016? 10 and 14 years old at the time being neglected by their mom? No food in the home? They're 18 and 14 now. That's 4 years of everyone in your family ignoring a major issue. Am I the asshole for encouraging bullying? I am a high school teacher. I am currently teaching a class of 16-year-olds, and this is the class whom this will be concerning. 2 months ago, I assigned them a group project. I paired up 2 students, F16, and M16. They wrote a pretty good report together, but then, close to the end of the project, F came to me and said that N had done no work. Now, I know N, he's well liked, which is relevant, but also very hard working and super dedicated, so I was surprised to hear that he had done this. I asked if she had any proof and she said she didn't have it complied, but she could get it tomorrow. She comes back and shows me the edit history on her document. I later came to know that she had copied everything, and then deleted it so that it looked like she had written all of it. I initially believed her, but then checked when it was all written, which was the night before. I was suspicious, and asked if she had anything else. She showed me messages, which were all basically her trying to organize times to work on it, but him rudely shutting her out. I confronted N about it. He was shocked and told me that he had been locked out of the Google Doc 2 days before. He then showed me the real messages and it was just them talking about the project and both of them coordinating the work. It was pretty obvious what F had done, and I went back and confronted her. I demanded to see the full edit history and it showed that the workload was actually more 70% to 30%. N had done roughly 70% of the work. I asked her why she had done this, and she told me that she thought that if he hadn't done any work she'd get a higher grade. I was pissed, because if I had believed her, it's literally a 0% grade for N and his average would have been completely wrecked. I took this to the principal and she was given a 4-day school suspension. I should also add, N wants to go into a career where he needs an insanely high average. N told the class and now they all basically hate F. She wasn't very well liked before, but now she was actively phased out of conversations. When there were social gatherings outside of school, she was excluded. It's at the point where she's crying every day. I feel bad for her, but it is really her fault, and she's facing her consequences. Her mother recently came to school screaming at me and saying that she's having mental breakdowns every day because of the social exclusion and bullying. She's saying I need to talk to the class and tell them they all need to include F or else. She also wants N punished for telling everyone. Whilst I feel bad for her, I don't feel fair punishing N, because this wasn't some super private conflict. It was just a matter of group work and as such, I never told N to not tell anyone. Furthermore, it's just common decency to not pull something like this and F could have ruined his entire life. We're not in the US, our high school grades matter as that's what gets these kids into college courses which determine their lives. Not the asshole. I don't see where you encourage bullying. Not the asshole. F is the bully here. She needs to learn to live with the consequences of her actions. Your job is to educate and support the children. F sucks for obvious reasons, but you pretty much washed your hands in the matter. You did not discuss the issue of academic integrity. You did not reach her to know if she had been having issues, if her parents pressure her for grades or encourage cheating. You did not address the matter with your students. She was suspended and not given guidance and opportunity for apologies and reparations. You do not need to like her, but you still have responsibilities to fulfill. If this child suicides, no thread on Reddit telling that you are right will fix things. Edit to add. OMG, thank you all for these awards. Not the asshole. What is happening to F is not bullying but merely having to face the consequences of her actions. She also wants N punished for telling everyone. How were you supposed to stop him from telling others? Were you supposed to make him sign an NDA? Also, N could have told others to warn them about F. Her actions could have wrecked his grade. I would personally have told my friends so that they could be careful around her. And #X200B. She wasn't very well liked before, but now she was actively phased out of conversations. No one likes people who tries to sabotage others. I'm also getting the feeling that this was the straw that broke the camel's back. She has most probably done shady stuff like this before and now everyone's just fed up. Not the asshole. I'm not surprised no one wants to work with F after what she did. Although I suspect, given a bit of time, everyone will get over it. If it does go further though, I would say it's your duty to step in. But currently she's reaping the consequences of her actions and sometimes you have to learn the hard way. Not the asshole. But teenagers can be assholes. And the constant bullying and isolation will not lead to any improvement in F's behavior. It's a pretty elaborate plan to sabotage your project partner's grade. If you have a school counselor, you can suggest counseling for her. Secondly, if you come across instances of bullying, please intervene and stop that. As a teacher, that is your responsibility. Kids can be mean as hell. You did the right thing by reporting her and she received a punishment in the form of suspension. You have to move past it and treat her like the other students. Whilst you might not be the asshole here in every respect, you have taken no action to discourage the bullying that F is now facing as a result of her actions. Yes, she was wrong to try and take all the credit for the project and you were correct to investigate, push and get to the bottom of that problem. However now, by standing idle whilst this girl is now bullied herself, you are not acting in her best interests. You cannot force people to include her in social events, but you can ensure that she is treated fairly in school and in class. You also need to educate the rest of the class in fair behavior as well. Not the asshole, this is not bullying and you are not encouraging it. You simply identified a student commuting fraud and ensured she received the appropriate consequences through the school. You did the right thing every step of the way. What the students are doing, that has nothing to do with you. You have no authority over what they do outside of school. It does not sound like bullying at all. This girl is simply paying the social consequences for her actions. Am I the asshole for selling my husband's artwork? My husband, 40, and I, 39, have been married for almost 20 years and starting dating shortly after I turned 18. When we started dating, we took a road trip from California to New York, where he purchased the ugliest painting I have ever seen from a man sitting on a sidewalk with several other paintings. It was a painting of two dancing bears, but they looked like someone had farted them out after a long night of drinking and eating 7-Eleven sushi. He absolutely loved this thing. Carried it around New York until we got back to the van we were traveling in, carefully wrapped it up, and mailed it to his mom's house to keep safe until we got home. When we purchased our first home a few years later, the first thing that was hung up was this painting. I demanded he removed it from any common areas where our newborn son could see it or any guests may witness its horror. He of course thought this was hilarious, but removed it and put it in the garage. In July of this year, we sold our home. I was helping him pack up the garage, and he pulled the painting down laughing and said, "I bet you'd love if I finally got rid of this thing?" And I immediately said, "Yes." He laughed and I guess I thought he was serious. Well, that weekend, we had a yard sale to get rid of everything we didn't want to bring to the new house. He was at the new house all weekend painting and bringing loads of our belongings to the new house. I was grabbing items from the garage and saw the painting. I happily walked it out to the yard and placed it right in front, so no one would miss it. It sold by mid-morning, to a young lady for $2. I joked with her how much I hated the ugly thing, and she talked about how she loved bears and abstract art. Whatever. Didn't care, just take it. So, we both had time off work last week and this week and really had some extra time to get everything unpacked. Today, he says, "Have you seen my bear painting?" Me. The one from New York? Him. Yeah, what else would I be talking about? Me. The one you told me to get rid of? Him. No. The one I was joking about getting rid of. The one I would never get rid of. Me. I sold it at the yard sale at the old house. Him. Sets down the things he is unpacking and walks out of the room. And #X200B. I went to talk to him earlier this evening, and he asked if I really got rid of the painting. I said I had, and he asked me why. I told him I thought he was serious about me getting rid of it. He explained that the trip we took was when he truly fell in love with me and knew he was going to marry me. He said every time he went into the garage and saw the painting it reminded him of that trip and how much fun we had. He knew it was ugly, he knew I hated it, but he absolutely loved it. He said he is extremely hurt and has been avoiding me at all costs ever since. Am I the asshole? I 100% feel bad. I did not know it actually meant anything to him. I totally thought he was serious about getting rid of it. I did not know it actually meant anything to him. Really? You didn't know it meant anything to him? After all this. He absolutely loved this thing. Carried it around New York until we got back to the van we were traveling in, carefully wrapped it up, and mailed it to his mom's house to keep safe until we got home. When we purchased our first home a few years later, the first thing that was hung up was this painting. You don't think this painting mattered to him? You are the asshole. YTA. I'd be putting out Facebook posts trying to hunt it back down. Or getting another one painted. Something. I have a feeling you didn't really think he's serious about selling it either. Deep down, you knew he didn't want to get rid of the painting. and you just wanted an excuse to convince yourself you had permission to get rid of it once and for all. What I don't understand is why you don't regard the painting as a piece of your shared past and shared adventures together. You are the asshole, 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 you are the asshole. You knew damn fucking well he didn't want to get rid of the painting. You are the asshole, 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 you are the asshole. What is wrong with you? It had already been banished to the garage. You couldn't let him keep something he liked with a lot of memories associated with it in the damn garage? Also, what even is the line about your newborn son? Do you think newborns are harsh art critics just waiting to judge your home decor? You are the asshole. You hated that picture and thought it was a quick way to get rid of it. You knew he loved that picture and would never sell it. Really bad on your part. I did not know it actually meant anything to him. Then why do you think he held on to it for 20 years? You knew and you didn't care because what you wanted was more important than what he had. And then you tried to tell him it's all his fault you got to sell it. You are the asshole. You literally sold the reminder of the day his heart expanded to include you. No wonder he's hurt and avoiding you. I bet you'd love if I finally got rid of this thing. Is not, I will get rid of this thing because I know it irritates you. You are the asshole for willfully misunderstanding him to your advantage. But hey, go to law school or run for Congress or something. Am I the asshole for not taking down our Halloween decorations? My husband and I moved into this neighborhood about 2 years ago after we got married. We haven't been able to celebrate Halloween the last 2 years due to COVID. It's our favorite holiday, so this year we decided to go all out. We filled our yard with tombstones and skeletons. All of our bushes and trees are wrapped in fake webbing. The tree closest to the street having a huge 6-foot spider dangling from its limbs. The final touch was a huge rope web, that we added extra webbing to fill it out, that hangs from our roof all the way out to the street. We're not into gory stuff, so we got a couple of fuzzy spider decorations to place around the yard. It took us hours to decorate and we were so excited. My husband looked like a kid in a candy story. Yesterday while my husband was at work, I heard a knock on my door. It turned out to be my neighbor. He looked absolutely frantic. I didn't even have a chance to ask what was happened when he yelled in my face, "You need to take all this shit down." I was really taken aback. This neighbor has always been very nice to us. I've seen other houses decorate in the past few years. Maybe not to this extent, but I know it's not against our WA rules. I decided to ask if that was his issue just in case. He looked at me completely dumbfounded and started going off, "Cut the crap. You need to put all this away. My wife has arachnophobia. Your yard practically gave her a heart attack this morning." I kind of fucked up here and laughed. I didn't think our purple fuzzy spiders with big googly eyes would even scare the little kids in the neighborhood. "You're pulling my leg, right?" He got in my face and practically stepped into my house. "You're going to scare my wife to death. If you and your husband don't take all this shit down, I'm reporting you. I'm a retired police officer and I can make this a real problem for you." I started seeing red and getting really uncomfortable because I was completely home alone and my husband wouldn't be home for hours. Even if I wanted to take it down, it would be impossible without his help. "Listen, this is our first time getting to celebrate Halloween in our house and we really put a lot into our yard. We don't even have any gory or graphic decorations. None of our spiders even look realistic. Can we please not do this right now? I don't give a shit. Take it down or else." He didn't really give me a chance to answer, he just started walking back to his yard. Our decorations are not scary. Other neighbors have even said our yard is cute. We also spent a few $100s decorating. It would be a huge waste to take it all down. I haven't told my husband yet because I know he's petty and will throw a fit, and probably decorate with even more spiders out of spite. I refuse to take down our decorations. This is really important to us and I just want to enjoy my favorite holiday with my husband. Am I the asshole? Sorry for any format or spelling errors, I'm on mobile. Not the asshole, but he is. I would call and report he was making threats. Not the asshole. Firstly, because this guy was incredibly aggressive and threatening instead of making a polite request for accommodation, and secondly, while I appreciate people have irrational fears, lots of people put up spiders around Halloween. If his wife can't even walk past your house with its cartoon-ish spiders, she may want to talk to someone. I recommend you record this incident, and invest in a front door camera in case this man comes to harass you again. Not the asshole, but you need to tell your husband, and maybe the police, that your neighbor threatened you. Not the asshole. File a police report. He threatened you. Also, add some more spiders. Not the asshole, you know this. But I would have a doorbell camera installed to record the threats if this turns serious. Not the asshole. He should take his wife to a therapist. If she freaks out over decorations, she needs help. Not the asshole. This guy is going to ruin your display when it's dark enough, so maybe get a camera or call the cops in advance. Not the asshole. Speaking as someone with severe arachnophobia, if it isn't walking on, near, by me, if it's purple and fuzzy, if it has googly eyes, it's not scary.